Hello and welcome. I have received a guide request from one of the viewers on YouTube that, hey, I want to know about the Islamic schools of denomination, and I'm delivering it. So this video will be mainly about the Islamic mechanics, well, which is fairly straightforward and simple, so we won't spend much time on it. But in fact, the video will more focus on the schools as mechanics. I mean, it's a long implemented mechanics, but it seems like some people are still pretty confused, and I don't blame them because it's been confusing enough to even list all the bonuses Islamic religion provide in the game because you have so many different bonuses hidden in different part and different mechanics, such as estates, the religion itself, the war decoration, piety, and all that crap. So, and then of course there's the schools, which we will focus mainly about, and I will talk a little bit about the bonuses and how you can utilize them. So let's go. So first and foremost, as we all know, Islam is currently pretty much the strongest religion in the game right now. And you might ask, hey, bitch, didn't you say Orthodox was the best religion in the game some time ago? Well, yeah, that was before religious ideas got nerfed to shit. Well, if you play with my mod, then you really wouldn't have that issue. I mean, not gonna lie, Islam is still one of the strongest religion in my mod because how strong they are in vanilla, and we have already nerfed them, and they are still extremely strong. But at least Orthodox is also as strong with. I mean, the strength of Orthodox and even other Christian religion heavily depends on religious ideas. And since they nerfed the crap out of religious ideas, be it the cost of conversion or the strength of conversion, that they added a bunch of negative modifiers out of nowhere to further slow down your conversion speed, then basically, essentially, all the Christian religions were nerfed. So therefore, humanist is the play in vanilla, and obviously, since many people don't play with mods because they want achievements and whatnot, this video is also going to only be talking about vanilla balance. So let's go. So Islam is the strongest religion right now, and I can give you a small list of things that are that makes them extremely strong. Let's call it a little introduction. Now, so first and foremost, they are the biggest religion in the world at the game start, which is Sunni. I mean, it's pretty obvious. They spanned from Malaya all the way to West Africa, and most of the Islamic provinces in the game at the game start are Sunni. And therefore, if you are a Sunni nation, then you really would not need to convert things or take humanist ideas for tolerance when you conquer new provinces from other Sunni nations, because they're already your religion. So this means your conquest does not require religious or humanist. Obviously, these two are still nice to have, but that's a big plus, isn't it? It means you can start conquering and without having to worry about extensive rebel issues before you can get these idea groups. Or you can just delay these idea groups and get something like administrative ideas before these, which means saving points. Why not? So, big religion. What does it mean? It means no extra aggressive expansion for being a heathen conquest. So I don't know if you guys know, but in as I have mentioned in my aggressive expansion videos or guides multiple times, when you are a heathen, which means you're from a different religion group, you conquer someone else within a different religion group, you get 25% extra aggressive expansion with everybody in that religion group. So this would explain to you why if you play as Hindu in India, you conquer some Sunni land, you start getting aggressive expansion going all the way to the Mamluks and Ottomans or even West Africa. And because it was multiplied and increased. So if you are Islamic and you conquer Islamic, you don't get this penalty. And then, third thing, easy alliances, obviously, and you get Ottomans, Timurids, and some big Indians when they start blobbing as your allies, which are not bad. It's actually good alliances, or at least for defensive alliances, those are as good as you're gonna get. The fourth thing is one of the most broken, overpowered shit in the game, called Trade Company Center of Reformation. You know, you have 50% trade power in the trade company region, trade company trade node, and then you put a merchant there, and then you start converting everything there to Sunni or whatever Islamic religion that you are. And considering that if someone there are Christians, like colonized Christian or Hindu, then bam, they're all gonna get screwed by rebels. Okay, then piety. That is something very, very nasty. You have minus 100 and plus 100. And the chief bonus in either one is the morale of armies on one side, which is extremely strong if you can keep it at plus 10. Minus 10% tech cost on the other side, if you declare wars on a lot of different religion people. And obviously, tech cost is great, right? It saves points. And 20% manpower is also good, and comparatively, the tech cost is just the best bonus you can get from that, considering there's no cost. And then, it is not shown here, but as I was mentioning, the estate dhimmi will give you tolerance of heathens and another tech cost reduction boost. At a maximum, I believe you can get plus 1 tolerance of heathens, which is essentially equal to Hindu, and you can get minus 10% tech costs if they are influential enough and loyal. Now, that will stack on top of legalism, mind you. So essentially, if you stack it up, you can get minus 20% tech cost just from the estate and the religion piety. And then you have the special edition of piety when you hit 75. At this, you get manpower, which is a bit, in my opinion, a bit hard, because if you're warring people a lot, then you would really get the corruption instead. But again, the minus 2 corruption is extremely fucking overpowered. Because you just need to declare a war. You don't even need to win the war. All you have to do is declare war on other religion nations, hit the button, and you don't even need to win the war or fight the war. Your piety bar will go all the way up to plus 100 legalism, and then you can get your minus 2 corruption for free. And if you have no corruption, it means you can just debase currency once, and essentially it is a free loan that you don't have to pay back. And the bigger you are, the more money you get from debasing. So there's that. And if you're doing world conquest in a normal vanilla game, you get territorial corruption, right? And territorial corruption can get very expensive when you get large. Minus 2 corruption, again, minus 2, instant. It doesn't take you 2 years to root it out. Again, it saves you time. It also doesn't cost you any money. And again, if you're world conquest, then you're definitely gonna get it every time the cooldown is over. So, anyway, let's go into these denominations and schools of law. So let's start by I want to categorize this into I want to talk about this in denomination. So let's start with Sunni, which is the most common one. So Sunni, for the base bonus, you get plus 10 cavalry ratio and chance of new heir. Both of them are completely shit, so I really don't care. But they get a variety of schools. So first of all, you get the minus 5% administrative tech costs. This thing is pretty much meh. In my opinion, it's pretty useless because it's only 5%. It saves you 30 points every 10, 15 years, and that's like nothing. And you usually the majors like Ottomans and Timurids start with this. Not really useful, but obviously they can't give them something very strong because of balance, because they're already Ottomans and Timurids. The second one are one of my favorite, minus 10% aggressive expansion impact. This is usually found in Arabia. It is very, very strong because it applies from the moment you start the game, if you start as these nations, and you will get this without any diplomatic ideas. You can get another minus 10% from 100 prestige, right? So if you have high prestige from winning wars and conquest, and you have this, you have minus 20%, which is essentially taking one of the AE reduction idea in the diplomatic idea groups. And sorry, if you take diplomatic ideas and in the old days influence ideas, well, today it's called espionage ideas, you stack both with this, you can get minus 60%. Pretty much 60% aggressive expansion impact. It's very, very strong. So, one thing I like to do to get this is that playing as a major like Ottomans or Mamluks or the Timurids, you will conquer things and you will want to lower your aggressive expansion. And since you're also pretty damn close to Arabia, pretty much next to it, just I would pick a random OPM who lost a war against another guy, just vassalize them or ally them, it doesn't matter. But usually I would try to go for vassalizing because, it makes things simpler. So I'll make them I would just make them my ally or vassalize them, and this will take up one of my diplomatic relations, but since you're a huge major, you don't need that many allies anyway. And I'll keep them and I'll get the bonus the entire game. And doing this also have the bonus of preventing them from getting wiped out, or and again, vassals are easier to get to 150 opinion, which is what you need to invite the scholar over, considering you don't start with it. It's a bit of busy work of micromanagement, but it's definitely worth it because you only have to do it like every 20 years, which is long enough on itself, and it's 10% aggressive expansion again. It could means the difference between taking one extra province or not to trigger a coalition, and that province might as well be a fort province. And if that's the case, then that saves a lot of headache in the future. So minus 10% development cost. This is usually found in India, if I remember correctly. I feel this one is also very, very useful if you're playing far away from institution spawn points. Well, for example, Renaissance spawn in Italy, colonialism in Western Europe. So, and then there's printing press, which pretty much you have to jumpstart on your own anywhere east of Persia. Combining this with the Indian plains, which is, northern India, the grassland and the farmlands, you can actually save yourself a very decent amount of points because, you know, grassland have no penalties. Farmland is minus 5 death cost, development costs, yeah. With this, you have another 10, and then some of the Indians have another minus 10 in their national ideas. So essentially, you can easily get something like minus 20%. And if you take economics, then you can get something like minus 40%. You save a very, very decent amount of points, and points in development in India is valuable. It gives you so much money that you can again exchange these money into points. So points are points, right? Always can find some use for it. Uh, Finally, we have the plus one merchant. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Mamluks start with it. North Africans should start with this as well. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this particular bonus. I feel like it's definitely a bonus, but it's decent for steering trade, but you get trade company eventually anyway, so merchant shouldn't be an issue. And I mean, there are use for it, but it's not on my priority list. If I have to choose, AE reduction will be my best, my top pick, because, well, I would like to play tall and conquer things, right? So that's for me. But even for me, I would say the death cost is the second best in this list because anyone can benefit from it. So let's move on to Shia. Shia is quite different. Well, the base bonus of Shia, again, the good thing is the plus 5% morale of armies, but it's pretty meh. But of course you can stack it with the mysticism, but for 15%, but that's gonna be hard to do anyway, because your Shia, anyone you declare on is gonna be Sunni. It's hard to find another Shia guy to declare on. And on top of that, Sunnis can also get that, so it's not exactly a unique bonus. Now, on this Shia, there are fewer schools, but in my opinion, they are actually better. Well, barring the first one. The first one gives you legitimacy and all that shit. It's useless, okay? Like, forget about this. This is useless. But the other two are spot on, and I will tell you why. Now, let's assume that we are Shia nation, right? Let's assume that we're not getting schools across. So, first of all, we have the plus 10% shock damage, which is good for everyone in the first half of the game. And actually, I would still like to have it in the second half of the game why not? It's shock damage. Damage is damage. So, it is very, very powerful in the first half because, as we all know, fire damage is close to non-existence before artillery comes out in mid-game. And it is very powerful if you have a lot of cavalry, obviously. Infantry still do some fire damage, but it also mostly do damage in the shock phase. Cavalry concentrate all of their damages in the shock phase, so this benefits people with a lot of cavalry. It is even better. Now, here's the thing. It is even better if you're playing a tech group like Muslim or Indian, which has good cavalry units. As far as I remember, Anatolian cavalry is also okay in the beginning of the game, but not the most amazing. But Muslim and Indian have like really good cavalry in early mid game. So it is very, and obviously I almost forgot that for hordes it is even especially powerful because it's 10% combat ability essentially. So this is godlike depending on who you play, and which is again the majority of the Islamic nations. This is insanely useful because it's synchronized with their units. So the minus 10% shocked damage received is also good, which is essentially the opposite, the mirror counterpart of the first one. And here's the thing. If you are a Shia nation and you can ally another Shia nation with this, the other bonus, then you can stack both, right? You would have plus 10 damage and minus 10 damage received. So what does that even mean? Well, to put it in plain terms, that actually means plus 10% discipline. Actually, that is the thing. It actually is essentially what discipline do. Discipline increase your damage deal to the enemy and it reduces the damage you receive. And considering you're getting plus 10 and minus 10, then that's essentially 10% discipline that you're getting. So imagine if you get both of these bonuses as Shia Nation, you will be using something like Manchu Banner on all of your units. Sounds good, right? And hey, guess what? If you are Manchu, you get all your banners and you do this, then you will get 20% discipline. Essentially, I mean, according to stats, they're not all discipline, but on in terms of stats, you're getting 20% discipline in your units. Isn't it great? So this is why it is so damn strong. And again, considering that getting cross heretic schools is kind of difficult, which I'm going to talk about later. Shia, starting as Shia, has or converting to Shia instead of Sunni, has this benefit of having an extremely powerful units and military if you know how to stack it correctly. Of course, there's also the problem that Sunni is better for conquest in terms of AE, diplomacy, and unrest. But it's up to you. You can always take humanist ideas and ignore that. So, Ibadi is the poor guy with 10% good produce modifier, and, well, don't get me wrong, this is a great bonus. This is 10% good produce. It's one of the best money modifier in the game. And as far as I remember, I can't be 100% sure on this, but as far as I remember, inviting scholars as Ibadi has actually no restrictions. It's like Ibadi uses all these schools, and if you invite a scholar, you have access to all of these. Of course, the condition of, being a friend still applies. Still applies. And wait, what the fuck? Okay, my bad. So, so Ibadi is flexible, but Ibadi is already an obscene small religion, so let's not talk about that. Okay, so to get other schools, you need 150 opinion, must be ally or overlord or subject. So pretty much you have to be ally to get to 150 anyway, right? So that's not really a requirement. But I prefer vassals myself because you can improve your relations to plus 200 easily. For non-subject, you can only improve your relations to plus 100. So not, vassalizing is always better. And again, they don't get killed, they don't break alliance, they don't hate you for events and whatnot. So, 50 admin, nothing particular. This minus 50 piety is uh, required if you want to cross heretics in invitation, which is gonna be a bit hard depending on what you do. Because if you're playing tall, then this is useful. If you're playing just warring people of your religion, or if you're surrounded by people of your religion, then this will be doable. But it could be difficult later on because in mid game you would have everyone blobbing out, and allies already pretty much fixed and in place, so you would be warring heretics and heathens more than your own religion. So this is kind of difficult, at least in my play style. So I think this is kind of difficult to get. But you can always like plan for it, like release or find, like leave some OPMs alive. Like I don't know, just find some 3 development step provinces, leave a guy or return province to an OPM there, leave like 5 of them alive there, and then declare war on all 5 of them on the same time, and then you get 100 mysticism for you to do this. But again, this is kind of annoying. So yeah, pretty hard if you're conquering, and if you want it anyway, you can always do some cheesy gamey things to get it. Okay, one of the to before I end this video, I would like to summarize and give you guys a very nasty trick. So you might not like what you start with in terms of the school, because these are predetermined when you start the game. You might not like it, but there's a nasty ass trick that you can change your permanent default bonus, the default school, even if you start with one that you don't like. So here's the trick. If you switch away from Islam and then switch back, you will get an event that asks you what default school you want to follow, and you can pick one as you wish. And obviously, Shia gets these three, Sunni gets these four. But the idea is that it will reset your default school, so it doesn't care what you started with. Even if you started as an Islamic nation, you will still get that event, and you can still pick anyone on the list as your default school. So what does that mean? For example, if you are the Ottomans, you switch your ass to Orthodox or anything else, and then you switch back to Sunni, then guess what? You can pick minus 10% aggressive expansion impact from the list. So you'll be the Ottomans with minus 10% AE. If you go Shia, you can get these as Ottomans, and you can invite another scholar for these. Imagine, well, let's think about it this way. Do you think your Janissaries are not overpowered enough? Well, make them your banners. Banner Janissaries, 10% discipline for being Shia. Well, so that's that. And it's extremely powerful. But of course, this requires some planning and, religion switching back and forth. But considering you will get this bonus for the entire game, and Islam being already one of the strongest religion that you won't really want to get rid of, it is worth it. So anyway, in my opinion, some people ask me which is the best choice, and I have given you some best things, like these and these are probably the best. But in my opinion, there are no bad choice because this is a strategy game and these are just tools. For example, you can play Hormooks and you can just go for the merchant and get yourself very rich because you're a trader. Or as Optimus, you want the AE, but if you're playing tall, I know some people like to play tall. If you're playing tall, then just get the minus 10% development cost, right? You wouldn't want the aggressive expansion impact if you don't expand a lot, right? It's just up to you. And of course, even as the Ottomans, I will get development cost reduction sometimes in my games because, for example, colonialism and printing press, you still have to jumpstart these, and why not just save 10% of the points? Points are points, right? So, yeah, it's all up to you. And I feel like I've given you enough information that you can do the choices and decisions yourself. And anyway, I've talked long enough, and I hope you guys like this guide. I hope you guys learned something from it, and I hope to see you guys next time.